Welcome back, everybody, to the Going for Two podcast with your hosts, Taylor and Alec. And for those on YouTube, you'll see a new face on the show. Josh is joining us today. Josh, how's it going, man? It's been a while.
It's going great. It has been a minute, but I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to add to this podcast and give you guys someone who actually has some ball knowledge and help this podcast reach the next level. So you can have some ad reads.
Okay. All right. Starting early with the jokes on all right. I wasn't prepared for that one. But okay, so someone that knows ball. I noticed.
I knew that was fucking coming.
Of course. YouTube. Murphy says hello, YouTube. You know, he's going to be in the same spot he always is somehow. Always on the camera. Got to be on the camera.
I would venture to say I'd say 90% of the episodes we've done, he literally chills right there.
Yeah, right. And the thing is, when I'm working, he's behind me, like on his bed that's over this shoulder. So it's like he knows that there's a camera on and he needs to be on it for something.
Yeah, it's showtime.
Yeah. So I noticed you're wearing this Penn State hat. And I need some background.
Okay. Honestly, just wanted to give a shout out to the Big Ten. Don't have any Ohio State gear because I hate Ohio State, but wanted to give a shout out to the Big Ten, the superior football conference this year over the SEC. I love getting in the Big Ten SEC rivalry. It's just fun to me because the South goes crazy about football, and then the North just gets upset that the SEC gets all the love. So I wanted to get some love to Penn State. It's a 1994 Rose Bowl championship hat. So.
94, Taylor, didn't you graduate high school in 94?
I knew that one was coming.
Also, the bill of that hat is so crooked, I can't not see it.
It's literally just like fucking.
Oh, yeah, no, it is super old. I don't even know where it comes from, honestly. I think I just found it at like a thrift shop and kind of been rocking it.
It's definitely something I could see a guy like Lou Holtz wearing, old dude. He's not going to wear a Penn State. He would wear something from Notre Dame, but
it's got the 90s look to it.
It definitely got a 90s
vibe. Yeah, it
goes together. But let's start with that just real quick, and then we'll get into our main topics today. National championship game on Monday. Ohio State, everyone already knows, national champions. Pretty I would say decisive until the end. Like Notre Dame made it a game in the back into the second half, but Ohio State pretty much just dominated that game. What were Josh? We'll start with you. What was your take on the game, or were you able to see any of it?
Yeah, no, I watched it all, or watched most of it. I think when you look at this game and you look at what Ohio State is, it's pretty obvious that they're the more talented team from top to bottom roster wise. I thought Notre Dame got a little lucky with the bracket and how it laid out. We're able to kind of get to the national championship. I don't really think this was the best two teams. I think the best thing we got out of this was the fun semifinal games. But yeah, Ohio State deserved to win. They're the better team, and they're kind of really lucky that this was the year that the 12-team playoff kind of took hold, because they had no chance in a 14 playoff to make it.
Yeah, I don't think they would have. Unfortunately, I don't think after the Michigan loss they would have been in the 4-team. But to your point, you said that this wasn't the best two teams over the course. Are you saying like over the course of the season it wasn't the best two teams?
Yeah, I don't think Notre Dame was. If I'm going like top to bottom roster wise, I don't think Notre Dame's a top two team. I thought they got a little lucky with the draw. I think Georgia losing their quarterback really hurt. And then I think Texas, if you reseeded like the NFL does, or they had actual true seeding and not just like, conference champions get 1 through 4. I think Texas is probably in a better position. If Texas played Notre Dame, I think Texas beats Notre Dame, in my honesty.
Yeah, I could see that happening. I've been pretty much on Notre Dame for the last 2 months on this show because Taylor, you can vouch for this. We were talking about the quarterfinal games with Georgia, and I was like, I think Notre Dame wins this game outright. And it does. It honestly, it didn't have anything to do with the quarterback. Yes, I do agree. I think not having Carson Beck and going with Gunnar Stockton definitely made an impact. But pretty much since Notre Dame lost to Southern Illinois?
He cut in and out for you?
Am I cutting? Sound check?
Say, Croft, do you see him cutting in and out?
It's good on my end.
I mean, I hear you now. You're just like you'll occasionally. Maybe it's mine. You're good. I just like said you'll.
I keep looking over at my mic, and maybe I'm topping out too high, so maybe
screen.
I'm talking too loud. Here, we'll do this, so maybe I can hear.
I don't know.
Maybe I was topping out. So yeah, since Notre Dame lost to Southern Illinois, they've pretty much been on a roll, even offensively. They were putting up 30, 40 points a game. Granted, they played, their rivals, which were like the back end of the Big Ten, so they didn't really play anyone of note. But going into a playoff, it's very much similar to the NFL, where if you're hot,
you're hot.
You're hot.
No, granted, and I mean, we'll talk about the luck of the draw. I mean, you look at that. I mean, Notre Dame didn't really play anybody until they played Penn State, and like you can ask Alec on that. Like, I mean, I didn't think Penn State was great as everybody wanted to write them off to be. But I mean,
no. But to Josh's credit, that semifinal game was pretty good.
No, it came down and like,
it was a good game to watch. One of the better games of the semifinal was definitely the two best games of the playoff for sure to watch.
Right, and like I said, you look at that score on that Texas-Ohio State game, and it looks a whole lot worse than it was. I mean, that still ended up being a close game until Ewers was sacked, and then that fumble was returned for a touchdown. Like I said, they were on the one. I think it was a shit call by fucking Sark on the one to run a jet sweep. I think if I'm in that position, like I said, you've got a guy like Arch who has time and time again been the guy on those short yard to run the ball. I think that's where you probably should have still stayed with it, but that's nor here nor there. Said I still think, I know the week before that game happened, me and Alec were talking about how like Texas played that game a lot better than I expected them to. I expected that to be at least a 14-point game, like early.
Yeah.
Just because Ohio State, since that Michigan loss, had just looked almost unbeatable. I mean, you beat Oregon by what, 20, if I remember right?
Yeah, 20.
So, like I said, I don't even think some of their starters played in the back half of that game.
They did not.
I feel for Oregon, though. They're going to get lost in history. Sorry to kind of cut you off there, but I feel bad for Oregon because I feel like Oregon was a really good team that just went up against, in my opinion, the second best team in the country, or the national champion, of course, after we saw it all play out. But that was a good Oregon team that just had too much time off and got just absolutely blitzed. Like, that's all that really happened. They just got absolutely blitzed in the first half.
If you look at that game earlier in the season, I mean, Ohio State played them well. I mean, Oregon got out lucky on what could go down as just like, I mean, you got to know how it plays out. But I mean, that's like the coach used a little bit of trickery there, and in my opinion, to win that game against Ohio State in the first one.
Sure. But 14 playoff Oregon's probably the national champion.
Yeah, don't fucking roll your eyes, motherfucker.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, but that's
no. I'm talking about Alec.
Oh, Alec.
We've had this.
I didn't roll my
before.
eyes.
Yeah, you did.
I didn't roll my eyes.
You gave one of those like fucking like on to this again.
Yeah, well, you've talked about it how many times now?
That's the third or fourth. I mean,
enough.
Well, played out and they fucking lost like they should have had the first time.
I mean, yeah, in a 14 playoff, yes, Oregon probably wins. So who would they would probably play? What, Texas?
Yeah, because
Georgia would play either Notre Dame or Boise State.
Probably
Notre Dame.
Probably would have been Notre Dame.
Yeah, no, or does that's a tough one. Does Texas even make it? It might have been. The ugliest thing. It could have been
right. Like that's like
Oregon.
There's no season,
Boise State.
With how the season ended, that and we had this conversation. Like, I wouldn't have wanted, like, on a 4-team playoff, I wouldn't have wanted to make that decision. Like, they're going to be pissed off people all around.
Yeah, because I think you get 1 seed Oregon, 4 seed Boise State. I think you get, gosh, that Texas Georgia. I'm guessing Georgia because
You'd
they
have to
beat
go
Texas.
Georgia.
So Georgia probably gets the 3, and you
Yeah.
give 2 to Notre Dame, and you end up with Notre Dame, Oregon, and Oregon probably is your national champion. And they got smoked by Ohio State, which is crazy to think about.
I think that game would be a lot closer than what you're saying. I think, like
No,
I was
it would have been Oregon and Notre Dame would have been close. But I'm just saying, there's a world when Oregon, who just got blitzed by Ohio State in the quarterfinals, is your national champion, while Ohio State's sitting at home mad because Michigan beat them.
Yeah.
A bad Michigan
Well, they're probably
team.
still mad about that. Like, even talking to Ohio State fans, it's yes, we won the national championship. We're the champions, but we still lost to Michigan. Like, that's still it's still there. Like, yes,
It's the
Will
same
Howard
thing.
is a national championship quarterback, but he was not the Ohio State quarterback that finally beat Michigan after 4 years. Like,
I don't
CJ
think they
Stroud
care.
did not beat Michigan.
I mean, they
Which is
care, but I don't
wild
think
to
they
me.
really care. I mean, it's one of
I
those.
mean, at the end of the day, no, they're national champions, but like,
Yeah.
I don't know. The way Ohio State fans act, and this is just speculation, this is how I kind of see it, is they would rather beat Michigan than win a national title, I feel like.
I don't know. My friend
I
was,
don't know if that's
my friend
true.
was
It's probably
really
not
happy
true.
about the Ohio State. He's a big Ohio State fan. I got a friend, really close friend, and I don't think he's sobered up yet. And
I'm assuming, do we know who you're talking about?
no, this one I don't think you know this guy. Hometown high school buddy of mine, and like I got a random text from him like at 10 o'clock at night, like on a Wednesday, about how he thinks Will Howard should be in the first round in the NFL draft. Like this is the level this
calm
guy's
down.
on right now. Like
Jesus
he has not come
Christ.
down from the national championship high. I'm having to talk him off a ledge. He thinks he's a Browns fan as well. He thinks the Browns should take Will Howard. Like he's on one right now.
At the beginning of the season, I saw a mock draft where the Steelers took Will Howard in the first round. This was before the season.
That would be a
Right.
Steelersy pick though.
It would.
Going all in on the
it's giving
defense.
Roethlisberger, but with like not as much of arm talent, and nothing to do with the other thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Nothing to do with the other thing.
I mean, you didn't even have to talk about that.
Yeah.
I'm
So
not-
Kenny
I'm not
Pickett
a Will
without the
Howard-
motorcycle accident.
Yeah, bigger hands. I'm not the biggest Will Howard fan. Right?
Gotcha.
He was my quarterback for 2 years
Yeah.
at Kansas State.
I thought he was there for 3.
He was there for 3, but he wasn't the starter. He wasn't the starter his freshman year. And he did well at Kansas State, but I was surprised when I saw he went to Ohio State. And then I told Taylor this a few weeks ago. I think they win the national. I think it was before the semifinal games. I don't think Will Howard is the X factor in that offense. It's 100% the running backs and Jeremiah Smith. It's like
Yeah, exactly.
you could have put Julian Sayin, Aaron Nolan, Devin Brown, Lincoln Keenholz, any of those quarterbacks they have on that roster, which, if I'm not mistaken, other than Will Howard, those are all 5 and top 4-star quarterbacks coming out of high school. Will Howard was a 3-star coming out, just to let you guys know. Number 12 in his class. That was a big get for Kansas State at the time. But I digress. Anyways, I don't think he was the X factor. The defense was really good. The running game was really good. And that's what led him to a national title.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and I think that showed in that.
No disrespect, though, to Will Howard. Like they earned it as a team for sure. They were clearly the best team in college football come playoff time, which is what you need. And that's how it is in the NFL. If you're the best team come playoff time, you're going to win.
I mean, best example of that right now is with the Commanders.
They were the better team in that game. And we're gonna get to NFL here. I guess this is a good segue. Y'all's thoughts on the playoffs so far?
The refs are in full
fun.
form. The refs are electric, helping Kansas City go for that
NFL
third
playoff refs now, or replacement refs Green Bay Seattle Seahawks game?
Oh,
That's
sad that you have to even think about it.
I know.
they just got to change the rules, man. I'm tired of, and this is just a bitter Houston fan here, but
I was waiting for this shit. I was waiting for this shit.
This is good because
I'm so
Chiefs fans,
tired
so it works.
of Patrick Mahomes dancing around
The
and then
flopping
at
was
the
a bit much.
last second just falling to the ground and then acting like he got shot. And every single time, man, every single
No.
time that flag, there was 3 huge flags that helped them. I mean, I don't think Houston wins
at
the
least
game.
2.
Yeah, at least 2. I don't think Houston wins the game. Our offense was atrocious, especially once we lost our number 2 and number 3 receiver. We weren't a championship contender team, but it just hurts when the refs make 2 big calls that then basically extend drives and lead to touchdowns.
Yeah, I will agree. The one where Mahomes is running out of bounds and they push him in the back and he throws his hands up. All right, I'll give you that one. That one's a bit much. But I saw this play, the play you're talking about, where he slid at the very last second, and the 2 defenders actually collided and didn't.
They hit
Mahomes.
each other. They didn't even hit him. They didn't even hit him.
And you guys know I got a text from Britton saying, "What the hell was that?" And I was just like, he's really good at timing that so well. It's and I'm not a fan of it. You know, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it's almost like a skill at this point. Because like it was oh, did we lose Taylor?
I guess, yeah.
Well, he'll be back in a second. It's sorry, YouTube. That's not Taylor. That's still Josh. He just moved over. I'll have to figure that out when we
finally moved myself
back.
to host. I'm happy. Only took 15 minutes.
Taylor, you look really different. Did you get a full head of hair?
Yeah. I'm making Taylor look good. So
yeah, for sure. What I was saying is there he is. So I'm gonna have to remove you and add him back so to get this the right way. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, it is clearly my internet. Like it completely went fucking blank. I was like sat here watching the screen for a minute and I was like, well, it looks like we need to restart this. What the fuck?
Well, luckily we didn't have to do that. It was funny. So you backed out and Croft's camera just moved over to you.
Yeah, so I saw it when I joined back in and it showed him there. I was like, well, that's not how that works, but okay.
Yeah, that was good. But back to what I was saying is it's unfortunately that it's like a skill of his that he's really and here's the thing, every quarterback is going to get that call. Mahomes is just that good at it. Did we lose Taylor again? Nope. All right. His camera just keeps freezing a little bit. But yeah, every quarterback's going to get that call. It doesn't matter if it's Mahomes, if it's Josh Allen, Lamar, every quarterback's going to get that call. And in real time, yes, in slow-mo, when we saw why did I say slow-mo like that? That was weird. In slow motion, yes, we all saw them collide and hit each other. It did not touch Patrick Mahomes. In real time, no ref saw that. There's just
no, and I totally get it. I just hate that we have all these cameras. We can instant replay everything, but we can't look at a big time flag like the roughing the passer call, or was it helmet to helmet? Is that what they called? Unnecessary roughness, I think, in the first quarter where they're driving and it's 3rd down and Will Anderson just goes and they thought it was helmet to helmet.
On that.
He did go high.
It was right at but they say it's from like the neck. It doesn't have to be helmet. Okay. Like it starts from the neck. That's why I was like, I could see it, but I understand the frustration.
But you could tell you're watching it, and full time it looks bad, but in real time you just see him. He's literally like giving himself up and like trying his best not even to make any contact with him.
Yeah. Well, I really try my best to not show bias, even as a Chiefs fan. Yes, Chiefs get a lot of calls, but so I saw a video with a stat of number of flags that they've gotten in the 4th quarter and overtime the last 2 years. Do you know how many flags that have been called on the Chiefs in those 2 years? Both of you guys take a guess.
On the Chiefs, I'm gonna go with 43.
Taylor?
More than that. It's probably an ungodly amount. I think it's over 100.
It is 97. Do you know how many flags have been called against the other team playing the Chiefs in the same time span?
It's probably the same number since you're bringing the stat.
98. I'm not trying to justify it by any means.
No. And some of it
seems to be timing. The timing of the Chiefs flags are, yes, I could totally see how that would be suspicious for sure.
Yeah,
I could see it. But
and a lot of it's just angry, drunk sports fans at a bar. Like, what? How could you call this? And I totally get it, but it's just when a team's good, it's going to come up. It's just the way it is, especially in the culture we have today with social media. Everyone's going to clip these certain moments and say this is the reason why. I mean, you go back 10 years and everyone forgets about, the flag there, the holding there that no one even talks about. But nowadays, you just got, 1,000, I guess TikTok is dead. Is TikTok back or is it still dead?
TikTok was dead for like 6 hours.
All right, TikTok is back. Thank you, Trump. Brought it back one day. He brought back TikTok.
Yeah. But yeah, it's funny you mentioned the people who take the clips of stuff. Yeah. As soon as you said that, for some reason, I thought of the Elon speech. I don't know if you guys saw that clip that everyone's been talking about.
They're saying he's a Nazi.
Yeah, where I'm like, what?
All right, throwing his heart out.
Yeah, but it's similar with that's how social media is, and that's how you'll see it. People see it one way.
Liberals clip shit and fucking immediately spin it whatever fucking way they want to.
Well, yeah, that's media for you, though.
Yeah, liberals.
Yeah.
You're gonna be so mad when I clip this and make you look bad.
Do it, bitch.
I'll do that podcast name out there. Hey, do you guys see this podcast? It's fucking shit.
Yeah.
One fucking fascist piece of shit.
Didn't hear any of that. That's good.
Yeah, I'm glad Taylor's coming in as a robot.
Yeah. All right. Next, the other topic, and then we'll get to the main portion here. I wanted to talk about.
Dude, I'm in and out here, man. My fucking internet just dog water today.
Mm-hmm. I apologize.
Game business going down.
I think cross DDoSing is what he's doing. He's trying to like get in on the territory.
Yeah, I'm about to become the host.
He's going to be the host, and Taylor, you're going to become a guest. Whenever you have working internet, we'll have Taylor
fucking
on.
Atrocious. I have no fucking idea. I've never had this issue, and it is just shitting the bed tonight.
Yeah, usually it's been my internet in recent weeks, but what do y'all's think? Not odds. What your all's thoughts on Ben Johnson, head coach of the Bears now, and Aaron Glenn? I saw today was the head coach of the Jets. Is that right?
Yes.
Yep.
So the Bears finally did something right, in my opinion, coaching wise.
I mean, I would agree. I mean, I think you just need to actually stick with him. Yeah,
but like now he has. The Bears have an actual, quarterback that can throw the ball. Maybe not the most accurate. Very young Mahomes. I would put him in that. He's got a strong arm and he's athletic. And you got an offensive mind. The Bears have been defensive minded since that hat was created on Josh's head. Like it's been nothing but defense. Like. You're telling me Rex Grossman got to a Super Bowl with the Bears because he was a good quarterback? Not that he wasn't a good quarterback, but like because of good quarterback play. Like no, it was the defense. Defense got him there. Defense has always been, the catalyst of the Bears organization. Now they have Ben Johnson, who's the OC in Detroit, and I'm excited to see what he can do there. Like I think it was the exact hire they needed to make. But,
no, I mean, I would agree, but it's still, you're going into Caleb's second year and he's on his third play caller.
Yeah, but again, it's his second year.
So my thing is that like the Bears need to understand that like just if things don't go right in these first year or two, you can't fucking throw the ship away. Like you got to sit on it.
I don't know. I think that comes down to Caleb Williams. It's not like they announced this in June or like, oh, we finally got Ben Johnson as head coach. They did it less than a week after they lost their playoff game. So I think this was already going to happen, and they had to wait to announce it. Same with Aaron Glenn. I think this was already going to happen. It just the season for the Lions needed to be over for them to actually announce it. So I think this move was going to happen regardless of the time frame. So there's a possibility that they knew about this a week or two ago, even. So
no, I mean,
I think Caleb Williams has plenty of time. He has 8 months to figure out Ben Johnson's offense. And if you can't figure it out in 8 months, you're probably not an NFL quarterback.
That's fair. I mean,
so I don't really think it's on Ben Johnson. I think you got to look at the quarterback.
I don't think it's on either of them. I think this is, as a organization, the Bears tend to to just immediately go off the deep, and if all things go wrong, you're immediate to just fire the coach. And I think that is where you've got to see a change in this. And I mean, the perfect example of that is the Detroit Lions. Where, like, what did Dan Campbell go his first season? I think 4-13 or something like that, or 4-12.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, like you have to give this isn't like you're not going to just fix this overnight.
I think they will. I mean, Eberflus was there for what, 3 years? Nagy was there for at least 3 years. You know, with the amount of draft capital that the Bears have gotten, their offense is talented. They needed some offensive line help, but other than that, their offense is pretty talented. They've got guys all around the ball.
Right.
Their defense is good. Like, you bring in a good defensive coordinator. Not sure what they're doing there. I'm never worried about the Bears defense per se, but I think the offensive minded coach will help. If our defense gives up 24 points, our defense can score 38. Our offense can score 38, no problem. I'm not saying they're going to score 38 every game. I'm just saying Ben's offense has been good.
We had this conversation that it doesn't matter how good your offense is if your defense dog shit. It's.
I said
bad.
24 points. That's 3 touchdowns. I'm not playing USC in the NFL. I'm
just
if
saying,
we give up 45, we could score 48.
I'm just saying, we just saw one of the best offensive teams all season not make the playoffs.
The Cowboys didn't have a good offense.
Cincinnati, dickhead.
Yeah. Oh, I did that.
We just talked about this.
Yeah.
So it still comes down to still gotta have an all around team.
Well, yeah,
how good your
the Bears
is.
have money.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. The Bears have had defensive, they've been good defensively. They've been at least average defensively, if not above average, for quite a while. So now that they finally get their offense, in my opinion, has always been the problem. But that's my take on it. All right, you guys want to get into the bulk of this? I guess we got about way there. All right, whose team we want to start with? I've got a little bit for everyone. Let's start with Taylor's team. We're going to be talking soccer today.
Fuck it.
We haven't talked soccer on the podcast yet. So today, as you can all see, we're all wearing jerseys. Can't really see Josh's. I think he's rocking the England jersey. Little West Ham above his head. Taylor with his Real Madrid warm-up shirt, because that's the closest he'll ever get to wearing an actual Real Madrid shirt. And now he's frozen, so it looks really sad. And then, of course, I'm wearing – I didn't touch the right side. The Manchester City shirt. He's getting really frustrated with his internet, I can tell. It's bugging the hell out of him. It's bugging the hell out of him. It's fine.
Oh.
It'll fix itself in a little bit. Let's start with Manchester United. I don't know if you guys saw the article of the new manager. Was it Ruben Amorim? I don't know if I'm going to pronounce. I'm going to mispronounce a lot of this stuff. I'm not. I may get it wrong, so I apologize in advance. He said that this is probably the worst Man United team in Man United history.
I mean, not wrong.
I mean, they're 13th in the league right now, 26 points from 22 matches, a -5 goal differential. They did win today in the Champions League against Rangers, but it was at the very end. Just not a great. I just don't know what's going. Like, when I first started getting into the Premier League, Man United was winning titles left and right. Like, there was no one better, nothing. And then Alex Ferguson left, and it's like they forgot how to build a great team.
Well, I saw an article literally earlier this week that at one point a scout literally told them to go after Holland and Bellingham, and they were like, "No, we're not going to do that." Thank God they didn't. Now both those guys get to like actually be on like clubs that like know how to like
World-class
play.
teams.
Fucking United's just been a dumpster fire for the last like 10 years.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't even really know what is, because it's not like those players aren't talented. They have talented players, but it's like they keep their like problem with Eric Ten Hag. Start there. He brought in his players from Ajax. That was a problem. Probably shouldn't have done that. Like going from the Eredivisie to the Premier League. Yeah, you've seen players make that jump, but guys like Anthony, Lisandro Martinez has been pretty. I would say he's been pretty good. I guess really it's just Anthony. Now, well, he had De Ligt for a while, and he's kind of fallen off since he left Ajax too, which is kind of unfortunate. Frankie De Jong, who was in the same class as him, he's been great since he left and went to Barcelona, but De Ligt not so much. It's just I just don't think there's any like what's the word?
Cohesion.
Cohesion? Okay, I was going to say that right. I thought I was going to say it wrong. There's no, yeah. I mean,
I think
there's no team chemistry because no one's getting their stride at the same time.
Well, it's 4 managers, teams combined, mashed together, Frankenstein roster. That's the problem. Man United is now, they're the Nebraska of soccer. They are an old name. They still have some money. They still have the brand recognition. But the problem is no real manager wants to be there because if they don't give you time to actually fix the problem, and they don't give you truly the right money to fix the problem, because you just got to gut the roster and start over and do what Arsenal did about 4 or 5 years ago. Get young talent. And then once you start having problems and you can't take that next step, that's when you spend the money. You go out and you buy the Declan Rices of the world. You go get those big pieces that you can't develop, and you put your team in a chance to win Champions Leagues and win Premier League titles. But they've gone at it all wrong. They just go out and buy players, and they're not getting the big name guys anymore because they're the second best team in town now. And they're going to stay that way until they actually learn how to develop. Because guess what the team across the city's doing? They're developing young talent. They have the better academy now. They have the better coach. They have the better facilities. And they're running their program a lot better. And Man United's just going, well, we're Man United. We're Man United. Well, Liverpool did that for 30 years, and they sucked for 30 years. You got to get out of the name brand stuff and just say, we got to get back to our roots and actually build from the ground up.
I agree. I think the Arsenal take there, I think that was a perfect analogy. Like they took their young guys from their academy. They weren't, top 4 every year, but they were right there. They were in those European places. They weren't challenging for a title, but they were there. Mm-hmm. And then once, all right, we see what we have. Like this is our group of young talent that we can add to, some money that we can get guys to put us over the top. And now Arsenal is a title contender for the last 3 years now. I think they're second right now, 6 points back of Liverpool. Liverpool does have a game in hand. Liverpool is just out of this world good this year. They also got it right. But you also see Arne Slot did not bring in a bunch of his players from, what was it, Feyenoord, where he came from? Also in the Eredivisie, like in the Netherlands. But yeah, I totally agree. Man United. Who's the last? I can't even remember who the last like academy product that actually like made an impact on that senior squad. And you can't count Garnacho because he was purchased at 17 from Atletico Madrid, or 16, or he was already well through the academy. Was like I can't think of one. Where back in the, granted I know Rooney wasn't academy, he was Everton, but like you just don't see it.
You also just don't see him getting young players and developing on them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's also has a lot to do with fans. Like fans have really high expectations every year.
Yeah.
They'll sit in front of a screen and be like, "Oh yeah, like we'll finish. If we finish mid-table, it's fine." But they'll go to the game and be like, "Oh my god, this manager's shit because he can't beat Brighton." And Brighton's look what Brighton's doing. Brighton's currently 9th. They got to European places, and they spend, I think, the third least amount on salary per total in the Premier League.
Yeah, sounds right.
And they're 9th in the Premier League right now. Like these teams, a lot of these teams aren't spending that much. They're just getting the best out of their players, and that's another problem. I don't think they're getting the best out of these players. Like Bruno Fernandes is being wasted at United, and it sucks. They also, all these players are on huge contracts. So all these other clubs are like, yeah, we can't even afford that. So you can't even move off these players. Like, I mean, at some point you have to really start the rebuild.
Yeah.
And that's gonna cost you 3-4 years.
Oh, easily.
And they've put it off I mean, I don't see, because didn't they get new ownership too? Didn't they recently get new ownership?
I don't think they have. I think there's been speculations of them selling, which everybody wants them to.
They might have got some
also
minority investment, but I don't think they got much. They're trying to build a new stadium. That's been a big project on their mind. They're trying to build a new stadium.
Why would you build a new stadium?
Because Old Trafford's falling apart.
Yeah.
Revamp it. You can't build a new one. That's you need to fix it. That's just,
they want to rebuild it. That's kind of when they're going for. Trying to
technically rebuild it, I guess.
They're trying to put it on the waterfront. They're trying to help get the city to kind of finance a little bit of it, make it a community project to boost the economy in the local area. They've actually they've sent executives over to Los Angeles to check out SoFi Stadium. I want to say gone to a couple other NFL type caliber stadiums, the newer ones that have been built. And they're really trying to.
I mean, if you're going to base any stadium over like soccer stadium, I would literally go down to Madrid. I think Madrid as a whole, if you look at that complex and everything else they've done, and I mean, you've heard Ronaldo talk about it when he went back there after coming from Madrid, that like Real's just done everything perfect there. Like if you're gonna base a new stadium and you want to have the top of the top for that, I would base it very similar to what Real's done.
I mean, you basically have to build a college campus if you're going to do that.
I don't disagree, but it's still one of those ones that, like, if you're going to look at stadiums and everything, and I that's one thing I've liked about Real's is that everything goes down.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those that if you're going to try to get the city to want to finance that, you look at that and you also make that a venue that you can bring in to have like any kind of like concert or any other kind of event that could potentially work there.
Too bad they banned concerts.
But it's just like if you're going
in Real Stadium, they banned it because they had too many noise complaints.
Oh, really?
So they banned it for a certain amount of time, and then also that that state of the art grass that we're gonna keep under here, it's killing the grass and not really.
But it's just Real's done well when it comes to keeping players happy and and being able to that stadium where it wants to be.
No, that's fair.
I just don't think you don't, and I think NFL stadiums work for America, but I don't know, like I don't see that being something that plays well into soccer.
I don't think they're going for the American look. I think they were using SoFi's community aspect because they have the park built in to the stadium. They have the shops built in. I think that's what they were looking for. Like we can put, some pubs here. We can put some high-end restaurants here, some apartments here.
Right. I think in Chicago
here.
Talking about doing the same thing.
Exactly, that kind of like community hub that the stadium
Right.
becomes. So
I
it's
think Cleveland's doing the same thing when they move
Yeah.
away from the waterfront.
Yeah, so I think that's what they were looking for, and kind of using SoFi as kind of the marker since it's
Benchmark.
such a high end stadium, high tech stadium, but then also
Right.
has those community aspects to it. So,
Like I said, they
That
need
would
to do
make sense.
something, or they're
That
going to
makes sense.
continue to be bottom of
yeah,
the table.
every time it rains, it floods that one stand. So something's got to change. In the
Yeah, that's
stadium.
fair.
Yeah. Let's move on, Josh. Let's move on to your team, West Ham. Right underneath United at 14th. Before we started recording, you said 14th was good for West Ham. I don't know if that's actually true or not. I don't know if you're kidding.
I mean, as a fan, you want more than 14th, but I mean, if you go with the historical context of it, other than the 60s where we had a really good run, 14th is pretty fair. I mean, I would like us to be better. I think we've been atrocious at times. The problem is the problem is West Ham is just they're always going to be a mid-table team. That's just kind of the finances we have, and kind of the place. And if we're going to shoot above our kind of, I guess, range and our bracket, you got to be smarter, like the Nottingham Forest is this year and the way they're playing, or Brighton, who just scouts really, really well. I know they're down in ninth, but that's because they've sold everyone for millions of dollars that had talent. But if you don't scout well and you don't just pick out these gems, you're just not going to make it out of this mid-level with the money we have and the assets we have. So, I mean, I don't know. We kind of are what we are. We're not going to get much better. We'll see what the future holds, but I don't think it's going to be very good because we can't really score consistently, and then we also give up a lot of goals consistently. So, yeah.
Right. Well, that's probably what led to Julian Lopetegui being, let go as manager. Now you have David Moyes. What's your take on David Moyes taking over? Won his first game. I'll give him that.
That was
right. They did win, didn't they?
What game?
I'm pulling it up. Oh, they just lost to Crystal Palace. That was not there. I know they're. Fulham. They beat Fulham in their first game.
Oh, Fulham. Okay.
I thought they'd won. So I was like, I know they lost to City 4-1, and they played Aston Villa in the FA Cup. But I thought they had won a game, and I knew they'd scored 3 goals. So yeah, 3-2 to Fulham in Moyes' first game.
Wait, Moyes is at Everton.
Who am I thinking of?
Moyes was our old manager. We have Graham Potter.
Graham Potter.
Yeah, we have Graham Potter. Sorry.
Yes, Graham Potter.
I was like, I don't know why my brain was like broken there because it's like Moyes was out there for so long.
Yeah, that's probably where I got it from too.
Yeah,
Graham Potter is the actual manager at West Ham, not
David
Moyes, who's at Everton.
That's what was throwing me off. I was like, that's not right. But my 10 o'clock at night, my brain is not thinking.
Clearly, mine's not either. I got that completely wrong.
I don't know. Graham Potter, I don't think he's terrible.
He was at Brighton. Brighton and then was at Chelsea.
And I think he has some stuff, and we'll see. It's too early to tell. Like, it's hard to take a team that's not yours. And right now,
I'm not saying rate his first 2 games as manager. I'm just gotten your kind of take on Graham Potter as a manager. He's taken lower to mid-table side, higher into the Premier League.
And I think that's why they signed him. Is his Brighton history, is his success with a similar caliber club, similar range, similar money, and similar assets, and was able to kind of overachieve. So hopefully he can do it again. I mean, it got him the Chelsea job. I know that backfired, but it's a big difference, when you actually have money and you can buy whatever you want rather than you have to be really, really smart and tactical and be like, well, I only have 20 million. I got to pick option A or option B rather than you're at Chelsea and you'd be like, well, let's just get option A and option B, or, overpay for somebody. So I like it. I think it'll be good. We'll see what happens. There's going to be a lot of decisions that need to be made. We have no outside backs that I really like. And that we're just taking old guys and trying to repurpose them. We have Wan-Bissaka, the old Man United outside back.
He's been pretty decent since this season.
He's been okay, but you can't
given his
put
last
your
couple seasons at United. That guy was lighting it up at Crystal Palace and then moved to United. I thought that was a great move. Didn't work out, but I think he's been pretty good at West Ham.
That's fair. Also, it doesn't help when your striker gets in a big car accident and goes out.
Yeah. Also, Bowen's been out for some time as well.
Yeah.
That's pretty much your star player for the most part. But what bugs me about West Ham, and we just talked about the stadiums. West Ham playing in the Olympic Stadium sits 100,000?
I want to say 60.
I'm almost positive it's 100,000.
It's not.
Almost positive.
It's not 100,000.
I gotta be close.
I'll look it up.
Look it up. But either way, that stadium is massive.
London Stadium, 62,000.
62,000?
62. It might be able to expand to like track purposes, but 68,000, and I think concerts it can hold 80. Yeah, 62.
All right, where does that sit with the rest of the Premier League?
It's top 6. It's one of the higher end ones. I mean,
but they also fill it.
Oh yeah,
they fill it week in.
They do a good
out.
job. Yeah, they do a good job.
Yeah, so that's another like the finances aren't. No, they're not. The top 6 rich clubs in the Premier League, but they've been in the Premier League for, a very long time at this point, to where they could spend money, and they do spend money. I don't know enough about West Ham on how I would fix West Ham personally. First off, you need to get a striker up top that's not 30 years old and having to put out your best right winger to play striker. So
we're number 2 in attendance, behind Manchester United.
Yeah, I was like, they fill that place. Where's City on that list by chance? I know it's low.
52,000.
Yeah, 6th. So
okay, that's not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah,
because everyone always gives City fans shit. It's like, oh, you can't fill your stadium. You can't fill your stadium. It's like, yeah, but we have 4 Premier Leagues in a row. Does it matter?
Yeah, kinda.
Coming from someone that hasn't won the Premier League in how many years?
I don't think
West Ham's ever won the Premier League. Do they have a top division title? I'm sure they have one.
We were really good in the 60s.
Yeah,
FA Cup.
Yeah, every Arsenal has an FA Cup, guys. We're not talking about Tottenham. We're not talking about Tottenham, who has 0 trophies. No offense, Tottenham fans. That's just unlucky. They're also having just a bad year. There's so many good teams that are having just absolute shockers when it comes to seasons. Tottenham's down in 15th.
West Ham's never won a Premier League.
We won an FA Cup. And a Conference League. I don't see any of y'all winning Conference Leagues.
Okay. I figured out why I thought it was David Moyes. I literally just saw a picture of David Moyes lifting that trophy, that Conference League trophy.
Okay.
That's
big
him,
time.
wasn't he?
Yeah, that was big time back in the 4 years ago now, I think. I don't know.
Conference League isn't that old. 22-23.
Yeah.
Is when they won it.
Yeah. It's been a minute. It's big time. Big time. I mean, I've never seen City host that trophy, and I've never seen United hold that trophy. So that I have one up on y'all.
You know what? We'll let you have it. It's okay. We'll let you have it.
Hey, you'll be fighting for it too once y'all get the 100 points deducted.
It's not going to happen.
They've already come out and said that they don't think it's going to be a 100-point deduction. It's just going to be a massive fucking fine.
It'll be a big fine, yes. I'm not, saying it didn't happen, but teams have done worse things. It's not like Man City goes out and spends, $500,000 in 2 transfer windows, buys a bunch of young players, gives them 10-year contracts. Yes, they did just give Erling Haaland a 9.5-year contract, but that's besides the point. but like they're not pulling to Chelsea where they're spending money that, like, you could say, yeah, they're spending money that they don't actually have, but like, they have that money.
Sure,
spend
yeah,
on these players.
yeah. When you have the Saudi blood money, or no, not Saudi, but the blood money.
The
You know,
UAE, get it right.
I know. I get
That's how it sucks that's the way it is now. Is other than like a Real Madrid, Barcelona, and even Barcelona's not in a great financial state.
Barcelona's in a terrible fucking financial state.
Real Madrid will last forever. Like they will. There's, knock on wood, there's probably not a way that they go broke at this point.
I can't believe Barca's in this situation. Like the way that those two teams fleeced La Liga and all of Spain on those TV rights deals for 40, 50 years and absolutely made sure that they were the biggest two clubs in that country.
Yeah.
Like
Barca, right, but Madrid did it the correct way. Barca did not. But
that's true.
Nowadays, it takes. I was thinking about it. The Premier League was seen as, it's a one-team league because Man City's won four straight titles. But if you look at the top 5 leagues, the Premier League is probably the most competitive amongst different teams because like Real Madrid's dominating right now. Bayern Munich, they didn't win the title last year, but they're going to win it this year after winning it for 10 straight seasons. PSG's back on top.
Harry Kane's going to finally get himself one.
Harry Kane's finally going to get himself a league title.
Don't speak too soon.
I spoke it into existence, so it doesn't happen. I don't want him to get it.
For those on YouTube, I don't think Taylor has his blur on his background. I think that's just
no. My internet's just a pile of shit.
Yeah, so it's not on. And PSG's back, and of course you're going to see the one-offs where you get like a team like Lille or Monaco win a title every now and then. But out of pure competitiveness, especially now with it's about time City's age caught up to them, and it has.
Yeah.
If you watched the Champions League game yesterday, they ran out of legs in the midfield completely. And they just hit over $100 million in this transfer window in January, but they haven't been doing that in recent years. They haven't been spending, a bucket of cash on players.
Well, they forgot to develop.
Well, they did, but they just sold the best player in England now.
No, but the problem is with Man City is to have a championship squad that's going to replenish itself, you need to have about 30% of your players, give or take, and your roster, your 25, 30-man roster, right, need to be, I won't say over the hill, but we'll say at our peak, right? Your veterans, your experience. You need 30% that are in your true prime, and then you need that 30% of youngsters, and that's where they lost the last 4 or 5 years. Is they haven't replenished their youngsters have either left to get opportunities because they haven't had opportunities to get playing time because it was such a dominant squad to get into, and they were tired of being. Okay, you're telling me I get to play in the FA Cup on a Wednesday,
on a rainy day,
yeah. And then maybe every other day I get to play the B team matchup in the Premier League, when we're tired.
Yeah, so when we're up 5-0 and after 30 minutes. Right.
So a lot of those young guys bolted and got out of there, and they haven't replenished them, and that's the problem. You saw the guys just leaving, and like Cole Palmer is a good example. A young guy who couldn't get a chance at City, he leaves, and now he's becoming, you could argue, one of the most important, if not the most important player in the league right now.
He's probably the best player in England right now.
Yeah,
I would give it to him.
Those are the opportunities that Man City, and you can't blame them because good players are going to leave if you're a good club. You're going to have good players that trickle out and fall through the cracks, but they don't have young players coming through the system right now, and that's the problem. It's caught up to them, and that's why they're struggling. Like these last 2 or 3 years, they haven't invested in the young guys. They haven't given young guys opportunities that make them want to stay, to fill in the, so now that they're 20, 24-year-olds and filling into their prime, you don't have that group of people. You don't have that 3 or 4 players that are going to be the next generation.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said earlier, they locked up Erling Haaland for 9.5 years. He'll be here until he's 34. They also got rid of all of the there's no release clause.
Mm-hmm.
So I was watching a video the other day, and it would mentioned in his Dortmund contract why City only got him for I think it was 40 or 50 million, because in his contract after a certain amount of time his release clause was set to not what he was worth. He was clearly worth 100 million coming out of Dortmund, but sold for way less than that. It was like that in his original City contract, to where after he played 3-4 seasons like he did at Dortmund, then he was going to have this price tag that was just teams wouldn't be able to say no. That's gone.
Well, that's
so I don't think he wants to leave at all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that's going back. We've talked about the potential fines, or at one point there was do we expulsion from the Premier League entirely. That I don't think he signs that if they don't know what's going to go down. I think Man City has an idea of what's going to happen, whether it's fines, 10-point deduction, whatever it is. I think they know. And I think Erling Haaland knows, his team knows, his camp knows. So he wouldn't sign that if he wasn't going to be playing in the Premier League. So I think that's kind of done. But however, I will say to the signings that they've made in this window, Kushinov, a center back from French team Lens, 20 years old. Victor Reis, 19 years old. And then Omar Mamouche, 25. He's in his prime. He could be, I don't know what was his contract. Did it say what his contract was? It does not have his contract. But well over that's 40, 75, 35. About 150 million on 3 players, but they're all either young and ready to could pretty much go into the first team now.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of replenished through that. But I totally agree, because right now the only 2 guys that come out of the academy are Phil Foden, he's up there in the same with Palmer,
elite player.
He's looking really good. And Rico Lewis, who hasn't really got in there full time just yet, but I think with Kyle Walker leaving, I think you'll see more of him.
Yeah,
but
he has the potential. He has high end potential.
Yeah,
don't forget about
nice.
My boy Spike Brits, English goalkeeper, 17 years old.
He's going to be the backup goalkeeper.
He's gonna be a dude to watch out for in the next 5 years.
I'm familiar. I think he's the next. He's the one everyone's talking about becoming the next England number 1.
Mm-hmm.
And being under Pep for pretty much his entire Man City tenure. Pep's been there for 9 years. We'll be going on 10 years almost. So I don't know when Spike got there, but
2023.
So he was new. I thought he was.
So he was at AC Wimbledon for his youth days. I guess they're all youth days because he's 17 years old.
He's still technically in his youth.
But yeah, he's been there. He's been there for 2 years. So he got there when he was 15. So
yeah, I think he'll be able to come in. Maybe not right away. Be like, hey, Ederson's going to Saudi, for instance, if that does happen. I don't think you'll see him take over the number 1 right away. But I hope they don't do a Claudio Bravo and bring in someone that can't. It's gonna be hard to do what Ederson does, because that guy can. I swear to God, that guy could hit a quarter from his box to the other goalkeeper's box, and after he could kick it, turn around, and have continual conversation he was having, and it would hit that quarter. It's insane the way that guy can move the ball, but. Yeah. But they haven't done this in the past. They haven't spent 150 million on a couple players to do this stuff like these other teams have. United spent 80 million on Rasmus Højlund. I wouldn't say that 80 million has really worked out. I don't think it's not that he's not good. I just don't. Throwing 80 million at that guy probably was not, or for him was probably not the move. That's just. And everyone has different, transfer takes on it, but that's just kind of how soccer is now. Money kind of buys it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but at the same time, you see Nottingham Forest. They don't have any like huge name players. They have Chris Wood, who's scored goals for how many Premier League teams in his career, and now they're what, third? I think is what they were.
Yeah, but that's more of a style thing. I think what Nottingham Forest is doing really well is they basically took a bunch of cast-offs.
I think it's, you look at it as almost like a Moneyball situation.
Well, yeah, you can look at it as Moneyball, but I look at it as just good tactics by the coach. Like, I think when you look at that team, the way they're playing, they're the last team in possession in the whole Premier League. So they have the worst possession percentages in the league. And what they do is they found a big target 9. They have 2 speedsters on the outside. They basically play back. They let teams cross the 50, and then they get you into those half spaces. They pounce, and then they basically win the ball. They try to get it out wide to the speed up top, and then they just counterattack / try to lump the ball forward to Chris Wood. He's really good at holding the ball up. He plays it off to the speed and just get them in those kind of open spaces to go. And they're just really, really good at that. It's just sitting back, letting teams have the ball. I actually think teams in the second half of the season are going to let them have the ball more because I think they're not as good with the ball than without the ball. So just let them basically push themselves up, and then you counter them back. So counter the counter, I guess, because right now they're just hunkering in.
You're going to let them you're going to take away the counter.
Yes.
That's how they score.
Yes.
And I mean, it'd be smart from any other team to start doing that. It'll be interesting to see if you see those that play style change and how teams want to go against Nottingham.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm interested to see what they do, but really crazy first half of the season.
No, absolutely.
If it wasn't for Liverpool, we could be looking at a Leicester City 2.0.
Oh, for sure. I mean, yeah. I mean, I said it earlier. Liverpool's just having a dynamite season, and I don't have any, I don't hate United as a City fan. I don't really hate Liverpool. They've been the rivals recently, but you got to respect it at the same time. Like,
oh, absolutely.
15-5-1 for 50 points through 21 games. They win. What's their next game? Their next game is
Ipswich, which will be a win.
Yeah, they'll play Saturday at Ipswich. City just beat them 6-0. I would, Liverpool's beat a team 7-0. I think that was United. Was that United? They beat them 7-0, and then they played Bournemouth and lost 1-0. So
I'm not sure.
I'm almost positive.
I don't remember the United. I know they 6-3 Tottenham, and that game was insane to watch.
Yeah. Oh no, I don't think this was. I think this was a couple of years ago.
Oh, a couple of years ago. Okay.
I think this was a couple of years ago. But yeah, the Tottenham game. I watched the highlights of that one. That game was nuts.
Yeah.
I definitely thought because didn't Tottenham go up like 2-0 in that one?
Yes, I believe so.
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. But yeah, they have Ipswich Town, so they'll likely win that one. Should win that one. Let me rephrase. And then their next games they have. After that they have a championship game next week, and then they have Bournemouth, Tottenham in the EFL Cup. But Tottenham already has semis. Yeah, that's the second leg of that one. Tottenham beat them.
Yes, Tottenham did beat them the first time.
Everton, Wolves, City, and Newcastle to end February. So, not real. I think Liverpool's winning the Premier League this year. It is what it is. But
what do you think about the Champions League? I mean, they're freaking destroying that as well. They're the number one team in the week. What do y'all think about the new Champions League format? I hate it.
Taylor?
I'm indifferent about it. I mean, I think it's the same way I look at the college football playoffs. I'm still indifferent on it. I mean, I think after a year or two, I'll have a better idea of where I feel at with it. I don't have a problem with changing up a format. I think that we should never just be completely stagnant in what we do. I mean, we had this conversation before we started the podcast, where we all agreed that the MLS needs to just go to a straight table and not have divisions.
Yeah.
It's one of those that, like, there's certain changes, and until we see how it plays out completely, I mean,
I don't know. I just think it kills and this is just for me, I think it just kills the group stage, or I guess the league phase. Is just not as exciting. I know you get bigger matchups. Oh, Barca's playing Liverpool, or Real Madrid and Bayern Munich, and you get those bigger matchups. But to me, it has less meaning, because they could, like, when you were in a group, that game meant so much, because if one of them got off to a bad start and lost the week before, you lose another one and you're probably done. You're playing in the Europa League. Like, you're done. This, it doesn't matter. It's like, oh, Real Madrid's lost a couple. Yeah, we got bigger matchups, but they're still going to qualify.
About that, but I mean, City as of right now is sitting on the outside of champions.
City has to win next week to make it to the playoff places. Has to win. They play Club Brugge out of Belgium. They win, they're in. Obviously, if they draw or lose, they're out.
What's it, 20? It's the top 24 teams. Yeah.
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 I like it because I think you're not playing the same team. You're not playing the same three teams. You're playing more of the best teams in the world, which is what the Champions League was supposed to do. However, yeah. I do kind of get like, oh, this is what they did instead of that Super League that they were talking about a few years ago.
Yeah.
But if you were going, like, it wasn't a bad idea. It was bad because there was no way to get in or out of it. Like, there was like, okay, yeah, we're going to monopolize. Basically, these are the big 18 teams in the world. This is what we're doing. Right. Everyone else can go screw off. Brest is up here from France. Atalanta's 7th. Monaco's 10th. Feyenoord's 11th. Celtics 18th. And you got the other smaller guys that are down at the bottom. Your Dinamo Zagreb's from Croatia. Shakhtar Donetsk from Ukraine, Sparta Prague, Czech Republic, Red Star. But like, you see these other teams, yes, they're not doing well. It's very skewed for the more talented, rich teams. But these little clubs are getting huge money.
Right.
This, so it's still worth it for everybody. And
they're getting big money either way. It's just now we just changed the format of it. And to me, it just, I don't.
Yes, the money is not the basis of it.
And the league is so unbalanced. Like, some teams are playing 3 or 4 giants, and others are getting none. And it's like, I don't know. It's the college football dilemma. I think you just open up the college football dilemma more. I don't know. At least
is there a formula to how they're creating the matchups that I'm not aware of? Or is it just draw?
I want to say. I have no idea on that. I would have to look into it. I haven't really put too much. But even if they do the formulas are always wacky and weird, and the way things go, because they have to be fair and they see teams, and you could, the 2 in Spain is always going to be, just as good, if not better than, I don't know, the 1 in half these countries that are in the Champions League or whatever. So the rankings and seedings and how they do it, they try to be fair, and they have good formulas. I just like the group stage because you had 4 pots. Your top 8 were in here. Your next 8 were there. It usually was fair. You usually had one group of death that sucked, but that made it so much fun because you'd have a Bayern Munich and a Real Madrid fighting it out, and someone was going to miss out. And it doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, the Champions League, the fun is when you get to the round of 16 and then the round of 8, it's going to be all the big boys. And then you got like 1 or 2 that, maybe Porto makes it or so, someone like that. But once you get to the round of 8, it's all the big boys fighting it out for the title. And it's not – format's not going to change that. So it's just the way you're packaging the first 6 months.
I mean, I at some point needed to change. Like, there needed to be something. You can't just I don't know. That's just me. I like the way it is structured, how it's, they have the top. So is the top? Is it the top 8 that get into the round of 16 on a match? Yeah.
Yes.
Top 8, and then the next 8 are the next 12 are in the playoff.
No, The next 8 would be pot 1. The following 8 would be pot 2. So the top 24 technically make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then you'd have basically they would play, and then the winner of that home and away go to the round of 16.
Yeah, they do in 2 legs. They're doing 2 legs in the play.
Yes.
Okay. Well, they kept that. That's good. And away goals aren't a thing anymore. They got rid of that before last year too. So
I kind of liked away goals.
Yeah, it definitely made like those little teams. They get an away goal. Like say, they go. Let's take a team like RB Salzburg, Red Bull Salzburg in Austria. They have to go play Real Madrid, and they get a goal. They can sit back, protect that goal, and even if they let up one, they basically won that tie because they have the away goal. Yeah. Now all they have to do at home is not let up a goal, which is tough. That's like it could have been 1-1 and then 0-0, and the away team would have won because that just seems. I didn't really like that. Personally.
Yeah, I mean, it was quirky, it was weird, but I don't know. I liked it because it made a little games. To me, it made some games more exciting because it's like, oh crap, we gotta still go score another goal here, rather than like now it's like both teams are like, yeah, let's just go to PKs and kind of just.
Yeah, but does a team like Real Madrid really want to go to PKs with RB Salzburg?
Apparently, because they always win. So.
Well, yeah, but like, do you really want to leave it up to penalties where, I'm not saying it's not a skill thing, but
no, I get you. I see what you're saying. But I'm just saying, I felt like like RB Salzburg would 100% pack it in, and then Real Madrid would be like, okay, we're gonna kind of, I don't know. I feel like it would force the team because sometimes the problem with soccer sometimes is because it's so low scoring. You need a goal or you need something to force the game to have action at sometimes. And I think that's one of the few flaws of soccer is you get these stalemates, especially at the highest level, of these 2 really good teams that don't really want to push it because they know if we push too much, they're going to expose us and they're going to go up. And then it just becomes boring soccer. And I don't know. I just felt like the away goal got us out of that sometimes, that stalemate between high-level teams of just boring soccer. The same thing as the golden goal. Bring back the golden goal. That was fun.
Yeah, that would be pretty exciting. A golden goal instead of like you do extra time, but if you score, it's over. Yeah. I think that would be to your point with it being such like it's hard to score in soccer, even though the nets are massive. But golden goal would be pretty sick. I don't remember the last time golden goal was a part of any sort of major competition. But
I'm gonna say the 90s.
Probably.
They had silver goal. That was in 2004.
You had silver goal. What is that?
So silver goal was kind of like golden goal, but they hated golden goal because it didn't work out with the way they wanted it to in the 90s. So they made silver goal for the 2000. It was in one tournament, the 2004 Euro, and it helped Greece win the 2004 Euro. But basically what it does is if you scored golden goal, the game's over, right? It ends there. Silver goal basically says you have the rest of that half. So if you scored in the first half of overtime, you have till the end of that half to tie the game up where it's over. So basically it got the perks of golden goal. Like you have the excitement because, we're about to win. But then you still have, I don't know, that 4 or 5 minutes or whatever where the other team's panicking and sending numbers up. And so they were trying it to get action in overtime because if you get the first goal, now you're going to have instant action. While also rewarding the team for being, not just sitting back and playing for PKs.
Yeah. So. I like that. I think what they should do, they do one half of extra time, 15 minutes, and then they go to 90s MLS penalties.
God, don't bring those back.
You start from like the halfway point between midfield and the goal line.
Uh-huh.
And you have to shoot before the box.
I can top that.
There'd be more penalty. It'd be way more exciting than penalties. There'd be way more saves, but there would be some absolute screamer goals from some incredible.
Oh yeah, no, 90s MLS PKs were fun.
I don't know if that last part was before the box, but I don't think you can like dribble up on the goalie and just like,
You had only had a certain amount of time, so it was
I think you had to kick at least before the spot. If I'm not like,
I think it was timed. I think it was like a certain amount of seconds, so you could only get. So theoretically,
you can only get so far.
Yes.
Okay.
I believe. I could be mistaken, but I could use my my old man. My old man over here, you know, he like has his crazy ideas to make soccer better, and he says we should just get rid of PKs altogether, and they should just play until someone scores, and then every 10 minutes take someone off the field. So that's his crazy idea.
Then we get to like a 7-on-7.
I'm thinking 1v1 with the keepers going 90 until someone like crashes.
I'll take Ederson every time because he'll score from pretty much anywhere on the field. It's perfect.
But I mean, a magic like the 200th minute, and these two poor goalkeepers are running box to box to try to score.
And they're just dead tired at this point.
Yeah,
it's been 200 minutes. Like that's 2 full games. That's over 2 full games. But Josh, ran a little long this time, but we did that specially just for you. I appreciate you coming on. Definitely going to have to do this again. You know, like you said, we got Champions League starting soon, so maybe, or the playoffs of that starting soon, so maybe we'll get into that. Taylor, we don't have much college football to talk about anymore since that's over.
Let's find something else. Let's hope my internet on the next one decides not to just shit the bed.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, hey, at least we had a third person here. So when you did come out,
that was
it
great.
wasn't just me talking to the camera.
Appreciate you on that one, Croft.
You're welcome. Yeah. I'm here to help.
So obviously, Croft, you're always welcome to come on and talk any sort of sports ball that we like to talk on here. Doesn't always have to be just soccer. You had some good takes on some football there as well. But that's going to do it for this one. Again, we ran a little long today, but that's going to do it for this episode of the Going for Two podcast. We'll see you guys later. Oops.